instruments, some of them, especially my drums board, and it was joyful. It was small, and I mean, it took many years that we became more and more well-known. We had bad press, especially in Germany, and we at first had to go to America, but we became a little bit more known, and the German press, they traveled after us, and then they said after years, we know the boys, they will make it, you know, when we electrified America. So we could not know that, what happened later on, and especially me, when I left them and started my own career with my band, with my music, which part of them present you today. But nothing of that could be to foresee.
Okay, so now digging a little bit into the new career and the new record, which has been released, called Times. Marc, are you planning to release some new records soon?
I'm working on 4 songs for a mini album right now. One of them, the intro of one of them will be playing tonight at the beginning of the set, so it'll be a little taster. But we're still remastering and all this stuff too. So.
Is it going to be electronic body music?
The bar that I'm setting is that the songs on this mini album, and also if there's another album, the song should fit perfectly into the set that we're playing tonight. So that's the idea.
Cool. Patrick, same question for you. Are you releasing some new records soon or right now?
For the moment, we work on the release of a live album about the final shows.
Yeah.
So this is something that's on the list. We have a few new tracks that we still have to go in the studio. But there's a lot of diplomacy to be played between the guys and see what we're going to put on that. It's probably going to be, like you guys, an EP or something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Wolfgang, personal question. What kind of music do you like to listen to?
Electronic music. That does not mean that I hate a harp. Or an original played bass guitar from Peter Hook in my music.
That's a nice one. So, this question is for Marc, and we were discussing it downstairs. Much of the early EBM music was created with scarcity. You didn't have the gear or the money to buy it. So, do you think that having less fools creativity?
You can be creative with everything you've got. If they tell you to make a song with pots and pans and a couple of ladles, you should be able to do that. Not an entire album maybe, but creativity doesn't depend on. Actually, creativity can be stifled if you have too many options. And that's a problem that you have with all these VSTs today, and you can use all these plugins, and you can drown yourself in them for months and try them out and never get anything done. And at a certain point, you have to just make a decision and go for it and make something with it. And that's the point I've reached also. I really want to work more like the very first recordings I ever did.
Thank you. Patrick, EBM has lived at the intersection of aggression and control, machine and body. Do you feel that today's digital music productions have changed the spirit of EBM?
No, I think the productions has improved. We were speaking in the film about the fact that we had before even no memory for synthesizers. All this has changed. But I totally agree that the best way to do music, we keep the old reflexes that we had in the 80s, which is limiting the amount of instrument you're using and trying to create with really a minimum of instrument and trying to do something very surgical. But the production is very different, the mastering is different, the technology has changed, so it's much more effective and powerful. When you DJ, you hear the difference when you play a track from the 80s or a track from now. It's sometimes drastic.
Okay, so my last question is going to be for Wolfgang. During a certain period of time, around the 80s, we had emerging hotspots of electronic body music in many areas. You had them in Berlin, in Brussels, in London, you had them in Frankfurt and in Düsseldorf. But what you did not have at that time was actually the means to communicate with people, no email or mobile phones. Did you have the information, or did you know what was going on the other places?
No. No idea. The only body music was, and I knew since then, was them. And it's, I like both.
All right, so our questions are
You
done.
don't need more.
What about you? Anybody wants to ask something?
Don't be shy. This one.
I have a question for the three of you.
Hello. I have a question for the three of you. I would like to ask you if there is any recent software or hardware you're using at this moment, or that is going to inspire you once you have it. That's the question, so I'll repeat it. Is there anything new?
I think behind all those machines, there's always human, and we have our five senses as people, and this is the most beautiful, it's not a machine, but the beautiful assets we have. And I think if you want to enter creativity, you have to use your senses, you have to use your emotions. The machines are just tools, so I don't attack, I wouldn't start with this hardware or that hardware. It's just, what do I like, what do I want, why do I am touched by this sounds versus another one? And that's when you make your choices. I mean, it's a total human choice, to me.
Actually, I'm working with a lot of old gear still, and actually, when I'm working with VSTs, when I'm working with laptops and computers, and I still like to send these sounds through the old, like Akai S1000 and stuff like that, just to give them more bite, and because it does make a big difference.
What's that? I mean, there's nothing to add, at least. I mean, generally, instruments, whatever they are, from whatever age they are, very new gadgets or very old ones, never inspire a musician. A musician is on his own. If he has some visions for a song, for lyrics, which is always starting in my music, writing lyrics about a story, because I developed a storyteller. So normally I talk much more than today because I'm a storyteller. But I tell you that story today, that instruments are not necessary for me. Everything is in my head and in my heart. Something which inspires me comes from outside, from people, from nature, from technical sounds in the streets, maybe from a tram or from a car or anything, you know, from rubber, from wind, from wood or so. When I have an idea, as said, I'm a visionary, everything works in my head. And then I asked my instrument, which I have, a very cheap synthesizer, which I have, I play some melodies because they grow in my heart at the same time. And then I sing to them or speak to them and develop with my partner who lives in England the other parts of the track. So we have all our instruments and we know how to use them, but they don't speak to us, we speak to them.